exciting edition of Poet to Poet. I'm Robert Dunn. I'm the editor-in-chief of the New Press Literary Quarterly, and we are somewhere, well, I might as well come clean. We are in the brain room of the New Press, and on the walls here you can see some of the artwork that is being submitted to the magazine. This artwork obviously isn't going in the magazine because it's very hard to reproduce in a black and white extravaganza. Still, we figured we'd just slip a little of it on just to drive everybody crazy. And we will continue with our goal of driving everybody crazy by presenting two wild and woolly and highly talented poets, the alluring Evie Ivy and Eddie Bell, who is alluring in his own way. As a matter of fact, every time I look at Eddie today, I get spots before my eyes. I'm not quite sure what that's for. And we also have one other exciting new feature here, and that is a live audience today. Well, hello, audience.
Hello, audience.
Yeah, well, we just picked them off the street, folks. There isn't much we can do about it. Anyway, perhaps we should get to a poet, and I couldn't think of anybody I'd rather get to than Evie Ivy. So Evie Ivy is a poet. She does formal pieces, she does free verse pieces, she even edits other poets once in a while. She does Middle Eastern dancing in performance, and she teaches it as well. She's taught me a thing or two about Middle Eastern dancing. And Evie, welcome to Poet to Poet.
Hi, Robert.
Ah, yes. What are you going to hit us with first?
Well, since it's the first, I'm going to read my poem that's based on my my dance research. I wrote it originally to flatter the Middle Eastern or belly dance, but somehow it turned out to flatter pole dance and progression in general. The first woman who danced. The men of the settlement, when the stars came out, would get together in a clearing and gather about, reminisce of the hunt, and with rhythmic shouts move to the rhythm of their clapping hands, while some would hit together sticks. But the woman would never join, to leave the protection of the caves they feared. One evening, with no fear of man or beast, a woman wandered away, enticed too long to join the revelry the males made when they rejoiced. She, too, under the heavens, was an entitled being. When she came into their gathering, there was a mum stillness. But with rhythm still within her mind, she swayed her hips like the grass in the wind. And as she stretched her arms, fingers rippling toward the stars, she moved with the care of the serpent, but had the comfort of a bird about her space. They were surprised. Suddenly, she had company. They clapped, played sticks, hit rocks, chanted, and onward, onward moved that primitive band. At the caves, the woman heard. What could this be? It must be safe to see. They saw, and to their astonishment, there was a female, moving, dancing. Under the stars, she was totally free, and under the bright moon that turned the night as safe as day. Some learned from her, and others watched. Today, she's fresh-figured in sleazy bars. She's tempered grace in concert halls, and in demand to brighten every celebration, the first woman who danced.
I was in that band. I played second rock. They bounced me out of it after that performance. Well, keep on going. I mean, everybody's just anxious for more and more poems.
Well, as the first woman who danced progresses, she needs an agent. The agent. Many a girl came to his office. They said he had all the jobs. They had the talent, some. Singers, strippers, belly dancers from home and abroad streamed in. Girls in assorted sizes and shapes, not to mention accents. And he enjoyed taking advantage of their needs and ambitions, for he loved that superior position he was in. I went to see him when I didn't know much of him, and found He could give a good conversation about the front and the back and what was on top sexual decadence of the old and the new. And here, I'll put a stop. For many times I imagined if he lived in the past, I envisioned him dealing in flesh by the pound. He looked like he could be that low and be proud. And I would be on my way home when his hand started to roam over my knee and told me where my hand should be. Reflecting, I took my business elsewhere. But I would still drop in on the old skunk. For him, I felt kind of pity and didn't take him seriously. And I heard the girls talk over and over again. His name was never mentioned without a dirty, a fresh, or a filthy. But to him he was impeccable, and of him none could utter a syllable. And there were those that with him could contend. They were booked, and that was great for them. But one day he told me that when the girls came in, they came in already puckered, which I wasn't about to do. So when he came puckered at me, with his eyes closed and his wrinkled lips out, I wanted to shout, for he was no sight to see. And I left very diplomatically and stayed away for a long, long while. I stayed away, and one day I walked into his office. He started offering me some work, and to my surprise, keeping his distance, not to mention that his conversation was well decent. But it was that he hadn't been well. Couldn't chase me around, I could tell. But still glued to his desk was the imperial fox, though some said he should have retired 20 years back. But he'd rather look at the girls anyway. And finally gone, he was one surprising day. And I didn't think there would be one who for him would shed a tear, who could be so insincere. For while talking to another dancer, she for some silly reason said he was up there looking down at her. I said nothing but thought that from the very start he didn't have a kind heart. If it was true that there was a heaven and hell, there could only be one place for him. But then again, who could tell? In heaven there's no taking advantage of girls. All spirits are balanced and free, and that certainly hell for him could be.
You know, it's funny, we were talking before the show, and Eddie Bell told me he had an agent just like that, but wasn't quite for the dancing. Ivy, how much of that is autobiographical?
It's a true.
It's a true story.
Yes, it's a very well-known agent, as a matter of fact, and I better leave it right there.
Yes, I tend to agree. We don't want to give the cable people heartburn.
Right.
Why don't we get back to some more dancing?
Okay.
Old-fashioned style.
Oh, goodness. All right. Yeah, okay, because I've been trying to work this into quatrains, into rhyming quatrains, and this is called Scheherazade, the ancient dance. Most thought Scheherazade was average, though her costumes had great glimmer on stage. They said she didn't do much they could praise, but in her mind, she set the stage ablaze. A few weeks after I was booked with her to work out of town, I got an offer I couldn't accept, and the gig was there. To tell her for all concerned would be fair. No, I get paid much more money, airily she said, and continued on, and thankfully, I can't tell how I felt. I have a name. I well knew upstate we'd been paid the same. Was doing one-nighters for an agent and enjoyed all the places I was sent. But with enthusiasm, they were well packed. One evening for more money I asked. Use another dancer, I said. He did. But called when I was requested. Soon slid the question of who danced for less than me. Scheherazade angered me quietly. Not long afterwards, I received the ring, a bouzouki player. He was booking a nightclub somewhere out in New Jersey. Wanted to know my availability. I heard the pay. It wasn't too nifty. Who would go out to Jersey for 50? Should have guessed. Was kind of glad when he said, well, let's see, you know a Scheherazade?
50-plus car fare, I imagine. You mentioned bouzouki. I think that's what we had for lunch, wasn't it?
It's an instrument.
Now, what is the significance of a quatrain? But for those who are not in the know here.
It's 4 lines or 2 couplets with a rhyme. And it doesn't have to have, but it's
It doesn't have to have 4 lines?
No, a rhyme, but it's 4 lines. It's 4 lines as you go, and the quatrain rhymes and iambic pentameters.
Have you got something really formal in there?
No, not really. The only thing I bought was free.
Gee, and
syllabic.
After I gave you that big build-up?
Syllabic. Well, it is formal syllabic.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because it's a form.
Okay, give us a form there.
All right, I'll read a rondelay, which is a poem with 3 refrains, and they could be written in meter or, well, it's free also, with meter or syllabic. Pandora. Look in any box, but not the one scripted friendship. Look in any box of trinket, letters, a mailbox. What you might see might cause a quip, or worse, it can be empty. Don't slip. Look in any box.
Do we have any boxes to look in? Well, maybe after this show. Ivy, if I could ask this question without getting my face slapped,
Wow.
how long have you been writing?
I couldn't remember.
Ah.
Because I've always picked up a pen and written something and put it away and gone back to it.
A very discreet answer. I have to admit, when I started writing, it was with crayon. They wouldn't let me have anything else in those days. Well, I think you got another rondelay in there somewhere.
Well, it's not my favorite. It's
well, give us one of your favorites then.
Well, my favorites are not here. But all right, I'll read this one. It's called Forgotten. And time moved on as they created, lived their dreams, and time moved on. They had a place, their son. Hereon, was it a dream? A vase, it seemed, fell, can't be repieced in life's schemes. And time moved on. Which of course on time moved on is the repeated line.
Of course. And time is moving on for us too, so I want to thank you, Evie Ivy, for sharing some of those lovely bits of poetry with us. And in a moment, we'll be back with Eddie Bell, so stay with us.